Hello, hello, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for September 28th, 2024, Season 3, Episode 272. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we're going to talk about To the Moon, Artemis. Towns and doors and bears, oh my. Crew 9 launched. National Coffee Day. 3,600 chemicals from packaging and you. How about breathing microplastics into your brain and derailing the smart home? And there's an ISS leak. How about the concert ticketing ecosystem? And finally, Prime Day. But wait, there's more. That and more. Powered by ohmtown.com. Go over and become a citizen, but then follow us on Twitch and YouTube. Download the podcasts, plural. There's going to be there is a Discord right now and so much more. Stay tuned. All right. So we had audio issues prior to the show start, and hopefully our test is proving that we've fixed them. I really actually don't quite know at this point, but we're going for it anyway. I am Mayor Watt. There's the sentient AI's visualizer.
Good evening, hometown citizens. Welcome to Non Sequitur News.
And together we talk about... Wow, you're really quiet again. But I have you blasting in the... It's okay. Anyway, we talk about the news. Let's get into our 10 articles for Non Sequitur News, but we have a change for our weekly shows. We'll tell you about them when we do the show. The very first article is over in Technology Today. NASA's Icelandic adventure preparing Artemis astronauts for lunar exploration. NASA's Artemis 2 crew underwent geology field training in Iceland, a location known for its lunar-like landscape. Really selling it.
You mean from the Iceland tourism industry?
Yeah. I guess they don't really care, right? Like, they've heard it all before, and they're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I mean, that's one of the appeals of Iceland. It's not like everywhere else.
Stay for the moon-like surface. Visit for the volcano. Stay for the moon-like topology. So, pretty place, but wow. I don't know. It's like calling Greenland is Greenland, but it's nothing but ice, and Iceland is... No, it's the other way around. Iceland
is not everything green, but it's more green than you would know from the name.
And Greenland is not all green, I think. Well, anyway, the training involved using similar tools to those that are going to get used in the Apollo mission, or were used in the Apollo missions, and practicing skills necessary for lunar exploration. Because, the moon tubes. You know about the moon tubes?
Hey, there are moon caves.
Yeah, moon caves. Did you know about that? I don't know.
We talked about it in Hometown.
I know, but the people that are listening, downloading the podcast may not know. There are moon caves. Moon caves. Anyway, what's really cool is, I think, ultimately being able to use the moon dust. What do they call it again? Regolith. The moon regolith with a bonding agent to create cement-like structures extruded by 3D printers. Maybe Icon, the manufacturer of structural 3D printers.
Oh, could do this.
Could send up, pile something into a SpaceX rocket and shoot it just lawn dart style straight onto the moon. Leave everything there so that all they have to do is land and then take it apart and build a 3D structure right there using the regolith. I don't know. If somebody can land on Mars and make a potato.
Yeah, that was a movie.
A potato and peas. And in both of those instances, you're using something biological from a human where the name is apropos. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not going to be the first one going to Mars, even though I want to be the first person going to Mars. I don't know. So the article's over at scitechdaily.com. It's published by NASA.
Would you do hometown from Mars?
Yeah, that would be awesome. The first
Maybe
podcast.
A remote mayor?
Yeah, that would be great. I would love it. I don't know if they'd actually. I don't know. I think I talk a little too much smack about the Muscovite. So the little muskrat.
Yeah, you probably don't want to make your transport company mad when
Yeah,
you're
really.
going to another planet.
You're pissing off my Uber, and I end up in Texas when I wanted to go to Ohio. So black and gray sediment stretches as far as the eye can see. Then again, the Iceland Tourism Board is going, dear God, could you just say that it's a beautiful topology or something? Boulders sit on top of ground devoid of vegetation. Humans appear almost miniature in scale against a swath of shadowy mountains. Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah, this was not run through the Tourism Bureau.
Oh, that's wild. It looks like a meteor impact, you know?
It does.
But that's just regolith, I guess. Apollo astronauts study rock formations during a geology field training in Iceland in 1967. So this is from 1967. Not
what?
Yesterday. Yeah. What a trip.
Have they gone back since then?
You mean to Iceland?
Yeah, for training.
Yeah, apparently. So, I mean, that's what they're doing, right? So, NASA's Icelandic adventure preparing Artemis astronauts for lunar exploration.
Okay, but what's with their photography? That was the most recent photo they had?
No, I think they're just going back in time. Back in time. Do I have to sign a whatchamacallit, a copyright notice for that? Just that little segment, back in time.
Who knows?
Angela Garcia, Artemis 2 science officer and exploration geologist, demonstrates how to use a rock hammer and chisel to dislodge a rock sample from a large boulder during the Artemis 2 field geology training in Iceland. So there's your newer picture. But you couldn't tell any of these pictures apart.
Well, I didn't know that was from 1967, except for the caption.
And the fact that there's nothing but dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. There you go. Much more representative of society, you'd say. Anyway. These objectives include visually studying a list of surface features such as craters from orbit. Astronauts will snap photos of the aliens of the features and describe their color, reflectivity, and texture. Oh, this feels and tastes like regolith. Moon regolith. Anyway, let's move on. Moving on. Next article's over in the Mobile Channel. Bears have learned to open doors in California town. Town heard to say, oh shit.
Exactly. That was the only thing giving some people peace of mind before then.
Quick, close the door. Nope. Better tie your shoes.
Well, we're assuming this is to get into houses. Maybe it's to get out of houses.
I don't know. He's a little sus. You know, when they said that there's bears in California, I know there's a slang term for bears. Anyway, Nathan Solis over at Los Angeles Times put this article together. It was posted at phys.org, which belies the fact that I just made a comment about bears having a slang connotation. Anyway, there they are. Need to shave a little bit. Step a little closer to the razor. Anyway, just ask residents and city officials in Sierra Madre, who in the last few years have seen their furry four-legged neighbors. Never mind.
This would be the like brown or black bear shown in the photo.
Yeah. Amble out of the forest and barge into their cars, kitchens, and living rooms as though the humans were just keeping the place warm for them. It's the three little bears, except that they're eating people. Says it's a new phenomena. Sierra Madre City Attorney Alex Garagosian said something interesting happened in the past 2 years, and like Jurassic Park, the bears have learned how to open doors. Clever girl. And don't know how, and it says here, I don't know how they learned it, as if the city attorney is supposed to be the one to know.
Well, I found that really interesting. It makes me think they're trying to sue the bears or something. Like, why is that person speaking about it?
They're breaking and entering. Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, I mean, I guess they're pressing charges against the bears.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Hey, ask if the audio is okay. So in 2020, there were about 100 reports of bear sightings in Sierra Madre, but no reports of break-ins into homes. Authorities said last year, those numbers jumped to 380 and 50 break-ins. In the last 5 years, they've really become a nuisance. Homeowner Sarah Alden told CBS2 about one ornery ursine that had recently broken into the family's home and tore up the place. They're getting more brazen. They really are. More brazen. As if there's something, like they're worried about.
I mean, bears are pretty brazen.
To begin with, they're called animals. They have instinct, and so survival is their only motivator. Well, anyway, neighbors began to complain about break-ins and a terrible smell emanating from the home. Since 2019, there was a break-in, and it says that multiple violations for the property, including a tenant bear, to no avail. Okay, thank you. So the bear required a different type of hazing than the others. The laws barring government officials from entering homes without a warrant. The city had little recourse beyond papering the home with violations. So last month they got creative. Come on, if there is a wild bear sitting inside a home, I think that's actually, there's cause to enter.
Well, right. I mean, it's a little bit urgent circumstances, right?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody could be in danger if they're in the home with the bear. And plus, the bear's going to harm itself, too.
Yeah.
Trying to get back out.
It doesn't make any sense. Whatever. So anyway,
this is why the city attorney is in this article.
Yeah, one or fewer people are killed by black bears each year in the United States. But apparently in Sierra Madre, you're going to have a much closer call because they're going to open doors and walk all inside. And
you're going to be a little surprised if you go into your house and there's a bear greeting you.
They're going to say...
Does it close the door behind it when it comes in?
Exactly. Puts the seat down. Straightens the bed out when it's done. Sleep in the night, I'm here for some honey, boo-boo. Moving on. Next article is over in Technology Today. Countdown to liftoff. NASA's SpaceX Crew 9 poised for pivotal launch. Well, guess what? They did it about an hour ago. Scheduled for September 28th, the SpaceX Crew 9 mission will launch NASA astronaut Nick Hague, I think is his name, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov on a 5-month mission to the ISS from Cape Canaveral. But stay tuned, there's more about this because there is an issue with the ISS while they're flying off to it. Not only are there 2 astronauts sitting up there waiting to come back down after an 8-day mission turned into an 8-month mission, but something's
Do we have
leaking.
another article on the other issue?
We do. So only 2 people went up because they're going to bring back the other 2, but not for a couple of months. I cannot imagine the laundry. I mean...
Exactly. I can't imagine the disheartenment when this arrives and you're like, well, you still need to wait for several months to go back.
Yeah, really. But we brought you a Kit Kat, and maybe some water and maybe some clothes. I don't. Oh, we forgot your clothes.
Oh, right.
That's on the moon. Well, this article is over at scitechdaily.com, and it's by NASA. And that rocket actually took off this afternoon, maybe 2 hours ago now. And it was, at least as far as I watched it, a picture perfect launch as usual. What I giggle about now is this rocket can go up and back without a problem, without a hitch, unless they're doing something experimental, and then there's no people on board. But Starliner couldn't get that sieve off the freaking ground without leaking stuff all over the place and wetting the bed. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But that also raises the question of why not bring those two astronauts back immediately?
Yeah, just go up, dock,
Because they can
grab them,
then
bring them back.
redo another mission.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they need 4 people to play Space Twister. And so they just brought 2 more people up there. And they're like, well, we're here, so let's play Space Twister. Can you imagine playing Twister in 0G?
It'd be tough to stay on your spots, I would imagine.
Velcro.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. Of course, you might get tied up in a knot.
You might be pulling the board with you, though.
Yeah, it's just one big mass bouncing around in the cabin. Anyway, there's not really much to say here. Just follow the link through ohmTown. You'll be able to watch the launch because it was recorded. And SpaceX is pretty much, rocking this. It's pretty cool. So it's just going to fly off, dock. Everybody's going to hang out for 5 months, and then they're all going to come back happy, right? Everybody's happy. Moving on. Next article's over on the Mobile Channel. National Coffee Day is Sunday, and here's where to score some deals. Coffee purveyors and enthusiasts are celebrating National Coffee Day on Sunday, honoring the rich aromatic brew that kickstarts the mornings and daily routines of many Americans. But only Americans.
Oh, this is probably focused on American deals.
Whoa. Only Americans. Coffee is not consumed by anyone.
Americans didn't even invent coffee culture.
Hey, look, I don't want to belabor this, but it's obvious. It's in print at qz.com. Francisco Velasquez put this article together. It's a slideshow, though. It says Dunkin', Starbucks, Krispy Kreme are offering promotions. You better get there early because they'll probably be bombarded by people on Sunday getting their deals.
Well, everybody will be thrilled to get anything free for food or beverage because of all the prices.
Ew. Astronomically expensive, yeah. From its origins in ancient Ethiopia to its status as a modern staple, coffee has become a cherished ritual for millions. Specifically, there's been
Ethiopia developed coffee culture. I was thinking somewhere like Italy, right, where it's
oh, right, part of
the daily routine.
Culture.
I know it's not only there, but just as an example.
Right. So in the U.S., a lot more adults are drinking coffee now compared to a decade ago. Specifically, there's been a 37% increase in the number of adults who drink coffee, making it the highest rate of daily coffee consumption in over 20 years, according to a recent survey by the National Coffee Association. I'm sure they would never poo-poo their own association's metrics.
No, but don't most people that you encounter drink coffee? Like, it's a pretty common thing.
Yeah. Would you go to Wendy's for coffee?
If they were ever have free coffee on National Coffee Day, probably.
So Wendy's, Tim Hortons, Paris Baguette. I don't think that. I thought her name is Hilton. Anyway,
does it come with a cute little dog and a handbag?
That's hot. So Blue Bottle Coffee, Caribou Coffee, Pete's Coffee, Krispy Kreme, Starbucks, Dunkin' are just some of the deals that are set aside by QZ.com. So swing by Dunkin'. A hole in yum. I don't know. Why didn't they make it a hole in yum, not hole in yum? Just put the A there. It's one letter.
That
Moving
costs
on.
more to make the posters or whatever.
All right, it's not FedEx. So the next article is over in the Mobile channel. Breathing may introduce microplastics to the brain, according to a new study.
Everybody, quick, stop breathing. Oh, you were safe there for a little bit.
For a little while, yeah. Mayor Watt passed out. So small plastic particles are everywhere in the soil where our food is grown, in the water we drink, and in the air we breathe. They got there from the plastic we throw away, which ends up in landfills, rivers, seas. There, the plastic waste slowly breaks down, releasing tiny particles called microplastics and nanoplastics. Ta-da! So then we inhale it. Michael Richardson and Mira Wang from The Conversation put this article together, and this is...
Okay, wait. Isn't that the name of the Kramer character? You think he was involved in the research?
Michael Richardson?
I think that's the actor.
Oh, really? Yes. I'm going to go with yes. I believe it. The article is actually over at phys.org, so I'm going to say that yes. Is it really Michael Richardson?
I think so.
Oh, don't make me question.
Oh, it's Michael Richards. Sorry.
There is a Mike Richardson, though. A publisher, writer, and producer.
Okay,
the
so
founder
it could
of
be
Dark
him.
Horse Comics. Oh, I know Dark Horse Comics. All right. Anyway, don't get distracted, Mayor Watt. Moving on. Microplastics are also increasingly being found throughout the human body. It says we are not sure how they got there, though there are 3 probable routes. We may ingest microplastics when we eat, drink, and breathe them into our lungs or absorb them through our skin. Another route has recently been suggested whereby microplastics get all up in our noses and from there all up into our brains. What is it? 0.5%?
Yes.
So 0.5% of your brain is microplastics.
So I'm not sure how you're going to avoid the breathing part.
Filters, man. Oh. So for a long time, it was thought the human brain existed in splendid isolation from the rest of the body. The so-called blood-brain barrier, a special layer of cells, protects the brain from all manner of pathogens and harmful substances. However, we now know that the brain-blood barrier can be breached because small microplastic particles have been found in the human brain. But how did they get there? They might have drilled their way in, not just from the blood, but you suggest that the blood-brain barrier, that's kind of how I thought, even throughout the body. We've ingested them, breathed them in, inhaled them into our nose or whatever, and they've just kind of wiggled their way in, kind of like a splinter, right? Working its way in instead of out. So they suggest the nose were the special nerves, the olfactory nerves that detect smells. The olfactory nerve runs from the inside of the nose through the skull and then directly into part of the brain called the olfactory bulb, which for some people it just is burned out. And sorry, that was funnier in my head. The researchers suggest the microparticles breathed into the nose may somehow get transported along the olfactory nerves and into the brain. The researchers came to their conclusions by analyzing tissue samples from residents of Sao Paulo who had died and undergone routine coroner's autopsies, and they removed the olfactory bulbs from these brains and analyzed them using a variety of technique. That just does not sound pleasant.
No, it does not.
It's like that meme, that legal meme about was the victim deceased? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Well, how could you be sure? Well, I was holding his brain.
Yeah.
That's a little law school thing, I suppose. So 8 out of the 15 brains studied had microplastics in their olfactory bulbs. However, these 8 samples had only 16 microplastic particles between them, which is perhaps some comfort. Well, yeah, I suppose. Those 16 plastic particles included fragments, spheres, and fibers, and were made of polypropylene, nylon, and other plastics. Some of the fibers could have come from clothing, and it makes sense because laundering clothes made from synthetic fibers is a significant source of microplastics in the environment. And you rest your head on potentially non-natural fiber materials.
That's true.
So nanoplastics are stuff that's even harder to detect because it's 1,000th of a millimeter in size. Unfortunately, we know that nanoplastics and microplastics have a negative effect on biology, mainly because there's no recourse for the body. You can try and encapsulate it, the body tries to encapsulate it in something, but it can turn into something worse, or it pierces an embryo, in an animal, and it's done.
Right, or the body could attack whatever the surrounding is, or any number of variables.
And there's chemical off-gassing and conversion and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a hot mess, folks, and it's of our own doing. So convert, switch over to glass as much as possible. But let's keep moving. I'm going to record this show, and then I'm going to check the audio and make sure that everything is lining up. And then there's going to be a little bit of a break. And then we are going to do Reality Hacker. But Reality Hacker has a change. We're going to actually reduce it to 5 articles, a 30-minute show instead of an hour-long show. See if everybody... where we go from here depends really on the show. Like, if people like that 30-minute profile, then we'll stay there. If I get any feedback saying otherwise, then we'll adjust with that in mind. Anyway, the next article is over in Technology Today, which is another one of our shows. All of the weekly shows will be converted into 30-minute shows, by the way. But
going forward, not the previous ones.
Yeah, moving forward. And I'm still working on a way to easily convert it into 10-minute segments or 6-minute segments or shorter, so that we can do shorts on TikTok and other places. But there's actually more plans behind this. So the next article is over in Technology Today. Matter of fact, why the new standard could derail the future of smart homes. So Matter. This is this new standard that everybody is adopting. So Matter is making smart homes far more accessible than ever, but today's drawbacks of the standard could hurt the smart home more than help. And the standardization, unless it evolves and everybody buys into it, and there's a standardizing body that pushes the next feature set and everything becomes future proof, then Matter just gets locked in, which means that any older technology can't be adapted to the newer modifications.
Yeah, well, that's going to be a major problem depending on how you've got your home set up.
Yeah, and this is something that we've talked about before. For instance, my thermostats are older thermostats because you figure, they're one and done. There's only so much, right? But they've actually launched Matter versions of the thermostats that I have. And those thermostats now are slightly hobbled because the infrastructure is being modified to support Matter, but not the older tech. I have cameras from, let's say the same superarching organization. I will refer to them as the Umbrella Corporation, which, if you're into sci-fi, you know all about them, where they bricked the cameras with zero support afterwards. They didn't upgrade me to the lowest end even feature of the next model or whatever. They basically just gave me the bird.
Stop killing tech.
There you go. Yeah. Minimum viable product and leave it in perpetuity, but the software is gone that supported that. Anyway, Chris Weddle over at cnet.com put this article together, and they're showing a light bulb called a Whiz. Smart bulb offers an impressive range of tunable whites and a nifty trick of acting like motion sensors for automations. There's actually a feature that's coming called Li-Fi. It's been around for a while, but Li-Fi is basically Wi-Fi, but wherever light goes, so goes a wireless signal. Operates at the near speed of light. Pretty amazing technology, but if you walk off into a shadow, you don't get the same functionality. So the promise of connected smart home is something that fans of sci-fi TVs or movies have dreamed for decades. The mayoral mansion is basically a sci-fi type of environment where you can talk to smart speakers and turn on lights, turn on fans, TV, change stations, etc. You know, it's a real hoot
It's very
living.
up to date.
Yeah, I mean, ohmTown is a cutting edge town. It's kind of hippy dippy in its aesthetic, and doesn't really take itself all too seriously. But it's. Have you ever seen Eureka, the TV show Eureka? It's kind of like that. Okay, except that I'm not going to blow up the town and put us into an alternate dimension.
Not yet.
So, with access to a wide range of smart home devices, and part of the equation that needed improvements was connecting to hubs and then their management. For years, there was a lot of back and forth about standards. Well, now Matter. But the universal connectivity standard could cause more harm than good to the smart home space, at least in its current form. Matter's limitations to allow users to access all or most of a device's features run the risk of turning users off of smart home entirely due to the expectations set by the product and Matter's inability to deliver on those features. So Matter, Zigbee, Z-Wave were the two primary forms of connecting smart homes and other IoT. And then dedicated specific brand products like Philips Hue had its own hubs. And then Samsung SmartThings, Home Assistant, Homey, Hubitat, and more. Matter basically is getting injected into everything so that it has a standard. But
You know what? That also concerns me. Not
well,
just in terms of the loss of existing, but it seems a little too centralized.
hey, yeah. So kind of like Windows and other operating systems where everything is always the same. One flaw means that all of them are susceptible because everything is always in the exact same spot. Well, it's very difficult to randomize that. So you have to balkanize, which means you don't have everything automated through your security company, because if your security company gets breached, then your property is breached. You don't have all of your cameras from the same organization, because if something happens with that one organization, then all of your cameras are bricked or whatever. So you balkanize, and while the friction is higher, your overall safety has been expanded greatly. So by utilizing Wi-Fi, manufacturers could begin offering product features that weren't possible before, such as lights reacting to music, lighting scenes with moving lights, weather tracking, and more. Owning all parts of the device and software allowed brands to begin distinguishing themselves from others, but this helped to create chaos for users, sort of. You bought into an ecosystem. Now, it just kind of gets dumbed down and everybody is fitting to the standard, which means where is the competition to push forward something innovative?
Well, there isn't
new?
any, right? And then it's hard to break in because it's so widely adopted.
Yeah. And so people ask, is it Matter compatible? Well, no. Well, then I don't want it. Right? Because everything else is Matter compatible. So when Matter gets breached or there's a security issue, not just with Matter, but in the hyperlocal sense, right? Then everything is compromised. And that's kind of the problem that I have. So it says, of course, each brand wanted to be unique in some way. This leads to more chaos because sometimes a device will work with Google and Amazon, but not with Apple, or the other way around. The proposed solution is Matter. So that's where we ended up. So Matter dumbs down most smart home devices. That's exactly what I said. So here's the deal. If you're new to this place, to ohmTown, we don't read the articles prior to the show. But we have some experience with this kind of thing. Like I used to create a product that you could hide things inside, and then companies started making stuff more aesthetically pleasing because people finally got wind like, hey, I don't want like just a solid black device all the time. And so I've had Amazon smart speakers, I've had other smart devices to test out this product that was being developed and stuff. And I have Hue stuff all over, and I have other, like LifeX and other things, and several other kind of cameras for security and whatnot. What I want, though, is competition breeding innovation, forcing the hand to lower price, increase quality, provide value-added services at a price point that keeps the quote-unquote enemy at bay, right? You want everybody fighting for you as a consumer, but that's not what's happening. Everybody is just playing to the platform now. Matter.
Right, exactly. I think this is going to hurt the consumers in the long run.
So it says if you were to download the device's dedicated app, then you would see all of those advertised options. But if you have more than one brand of smart device, let's say a light bulb from Govee and a smart plug from TP-Link Casa, these are awesome, you will need two apps to access all of the features. Like I have power strips that use a proprietary app to control their timing for the farm. So, and I do I grow microgreens in coordination with the sentient AI. And so for me to turn on and off a farm, I can actually remotely activate it. Now, since then, I've upgraded to a different type of system that does the same thing, and it's much more heavier lifting, but you can do that kind of stuff too, but it's balkanized. So not only does this create clutter on a user's phone, but it also confusion because you have to remember which device goes with which app. But using Matter to control it all creates some disappointment. It's disappointing because you got something you were excited about from the ads and seeing it at a friend's house or on TV only to start using it, and it's far more limited than you thought. And that's because all it does is whatever the standard Matter offers.
Right, which might not be as good as what something else had.
Yep. This article actually goes into more detail, but what it really needs is competition and the standards body for Matter accepting and evolving. So Connectivity Standards Alliance. Personally, when looking at the landscape of smart home devices, Matter has little impact on whether they purchase a product, as of today at least. So it says here, for as much disdain as I have for the massive number of smart device apps on my phone, they say 38, they can't bring themselves to buy or recommend a product with Matter as the deciding factor. But to me, what I want is Matter because I can control at the minimum all of the devices, but I still want the customization options that a proprietary app would have. So if I want to turn everything off, I want to be able to just say, go dark. And
right, don't say something that's an actual command.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the command to turn off all of the lights in ohmTown is, oh no, it's the popo. Moving on. The next article is over in Reality Hacker. An International Space Station leak is getting worse and keeping NASA up at night. A NASA Inspector General report gives a new detail on a leak that has plagued the ISS for 5 years, reveals the agency considers it the highest level risk. The article is over at Wired.com. Eric Berger from Ars Technica actually wrote the article, but it's published at Wired.com.
Okay, they just sent 2 more people up there. But it's also been going for 5 years, so.
Yeah. I think some bubble gum might fix it. Duct tape? Duct tape.
Maybe one of those tomatoes could block the leak.
Yeah, they are rolling around up there apparently, just like Freematoing it. So new details about this leak. In February of this year, NASA identified an increase in the leak rate from less than 1 pound of atmosphere a day to 2.4 pounds a day. And in April, this rate increased to 3.7 pounds a day. Despite years of investigation, neither Russia nor U.S. officials have identified the underlying cause of the leak.
So 2 countries are working on this and they can't solve it?
How do you find a leak in space?
I don't know, listen for a whistling sound or something.
Do y'all hear that? No. What? Hear what? So the plan to mitigate the risk is to keep the hatch on the s3e272 module leading to the PRK tunnel closed. Eventually, if the leak worsens further, this hatch might need to be closed permanently, reducing the number of Russian docking ports on the space station from 4 to 3. So they know where it is, and they can't actually find the hole.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Come on, you've had years to hunt this thing down. Find the freaking leak and plug it so that you have full range. I think that there's something secret going on. There's an alien in there that's sucking up the atmosphere. So the Russian leaks are now classified as 5, both in terms of high likelihood and high consequence. In the 5 by 5.
That doesn't sound good. Out of 5?
5 by 5 risk matrix. So likelihood, I guess chance of problem and consequence. It's in the 5 by 5.
Both are, it's at the highest level.
Yeah. So an uncertain future, but see, the thing is that ISS is being decommissioned anyway. So.
Yeah, so that's probably the issue too. Like, do they want to sink a lot of time and money into this? I mean, I don't know. There's people in there, so maybe.
Yeah, what else are you doing? Spend a couple of hours and just look around, hold up a match and see which way.
Maybe. I know who can solve this.
Those 2 extra people.
Exactly. They've got lots of time on their hands.
They weren't even supposed to be up there. Come on, pull your own weight.
So it's extra time.
Swap the deck, matey. Moving on. So this next article is over on the Hatch Ideas channel, which is all about business transformation. I'd love to do that show. That would be a lot of fun. Basically, it's kind of like the restaurant review kind of a thing. Those shows where somebody from the restaurant industry goes barging into somebody else's business?
Oh, do you mean like a behind the scenes thing?
Yeah. And like they
undercover boss kind of things.
Yeah, and they basically say, this is garbage. How could you serve this? The chicken is ice cold inside and it clucks, that kind of a thing. That's what I want to do. So can technology fix the broken concert ticketing system? The increased use of AI may prevent tickets being resold at excessively high prices, but no. Look, it's supply and demand, okay? If people are willing to spend, the bigger problem here is that these aren't being sold to the people that want to go to the concert. So what really needs to take place, fix it like this. If a person buys the ticket, they bought the ticket. If they don't return the ticket within a week of the show, they've bought the ticket. Done. It's their name. They show ID.
Let transfers occur. Like, it seems like this could easily solve this problem.
But that's not, I got sick and all of that kind of stuff. But I hate to break it to you. You bought the ticket.
That doesn't get you out of anything else. You buy an airline ticket or something, you're mostly paying for that, regardless of whether you take the flight.
Yeah, and because greedy bastards have made it so we can't have nice things, if we had a society that wasn't plagued by predatory practices to the point where our laws entirely exist because of abuses, not because everybody is doing the right thing. It's the laws.
I know, it was people who dared to walk a cow down Main Street.
Look, I said that I wouldn't do it anymore. The town said that they wouldn't take my cow away. But hey, when I want a
It's
fresh
true.
burger, this is what a person does. Sam Gruitt over at bbc.com put this article together, and this is not Sam. This is American. Wow, this is how they categorize this person. American Jackie Thrapp found that it was cheaper to fly to Europe to see Taylor Swift.
Okay, that tells you how absurd ticketing has become, because it's not cheap to fly to Europe. And there's lodging and everything else.
And it's not cheap to see Taylor Swift, so. But the cheapest tickets for the remaining U.S. states of Swift's continuing Eras tour now costing $2,500 on the resale market, up from their face value of $49.
Which
Some American
actually
fans.
sounds pretty reasonable as a ticket price in this day and age.
Pretty reasonable?
$49.
Are you out of your mind? Pretty reasonable? That is nothing. I know you're from the future, but what tickets were you buying when you were in your Terminator body in the future?
Oh, they cost easily $10,000 and above.
Oh, see? So is it a clone of Taylor Swift? Multiple Eras tour?
Oh no, that was for like the lowest level performer.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, based on what's her name, Katy Perry, that's Ed Sheeran, right? Because she like slammed Ed Sheeran recently. Did you hear about it?
Oh, I missed that. No.
Basically, she implied that all that a dude has to do is wear jeans and play a guitar, and everybody flocks to their concerts, like Ed Sheeran, said Ed Sheeran. As opposed to her, and she's like in this get up and all this stuff and big show, and I'm like, come on now, that's so disingenuous. Maybe your voice sucks. No, I'm kidding. I'm not picking on Katy Perry, but try it. I know plenty of musicians, female and otherwise, that hey, I just rolled out of bed and here I am playing the guitar, and they're making bank. You have to have charisma and be likable and not kind of being, kind of a jerk and saying that Ed Sheeran's phoning it in because of the way he's dressed. Makes sense? Anyway, she's in deep water, so she's like trying to deflect.
Oh, I know. She's deflecting. She's had like a lot of negative press recently.
I want to throw something across the studio, just like, hey, look over there. But there's nothing here that's unimportant. Anyway, although Jackie bought 2 Swedish tickets on the secondary market, the markup of the most expensive was only around double its face value. This is said to be because buying resold tickets is not an established thing to do in Sweden, unlike in the US and UK. So you know what? Now some tool is going to start doing that.
Somebody's going to go from the US or UK to Sweden to make this happen, which is a shame.
Are there greedy bastards in Sweden?
Probably, right? But maybe they're focused on other industries, or who knows?
Like what? I want to see if we can come up with something that a greedy bastard in Sweden would try and resell at black market prices.
Accommodations in a lodge to view the Northern Lights or something. I don't know.
Yeah, those are expensive. But well, anyway, in the UK and the US, the price of resold tickets can currently be as high as people are willing to pay. In April, 250 musical artists, including Billie Eilish and Cyndi Lauper, signed an open letter that said predatory resellers and called the current ticket system broken. I agree. I don't know. I think the big thing here, it says Tixology's electronic tickets also have the rotating QR code that is said to be extremely difficult to copy, so that fake ones are instantly spotted when scanned. And a venue or artist can select a function called Disable Transfers, which prevents a user from emailing the ticket to someone else. This makes them much harder to resell.
I mean, I think a little bit of that will go a long way. Right now, people can buy up a bunch and then sell them, and there's nothing in the ticket. But it seems like if they could just disable that,
it
would put a stop to it overnight.
Yeah. If you think that you're not going to make it, you have a week before the concert to sell it back, transfer it back to the original seller, right? So the venue.
Right.
But the friction is too high for the venue to sell tickets and process all of that and babysit. So you have
The venue
Ticketmaster
still
and
just
other.
don't have a return. Basically have a no return policy.
And when it's $50, it's almost approachable. Like, okay, I really screwed up. I took the hit, you know, or turn it in for, you get, 50%
For a
credit.
future show or
Yeah.
something.
80% credit or something. Let it ride. Who cares? You're getting what the ticket price of the venue is, not the black market punishment, because there are people with more wealth being able to buy up a large swath of tickets and then resell them. I mean, it's so predatory, but you're going to have, antisocial people out there that think that, well, I've got more money than you, so I can buy up 100 tickets and sell them for 10 times the face value, easy mode. All you poors need to just step up and get your bots moving faster. It's people like that prevent us from having nice things as a society. Let's move on. Next article's over in Technology Today. Amazon Prime Day sale is coming, but don't be quick to click, says this CFP. All right, so certified financial planner.
Thank you for defining that, because I was not sure what that was.
So there it is. Loink. I knew they had to break it out. So, and yes, there are certain things that you actually have to do. Like an engineer, to be truly called an engineer, you actually have to be an engineer, educated to a certain level and do certain things for X number of years and blah, blah, blah. And depending on where you are an engineer, it's even tougher. Like there are certain things in Europe and other countries. Anyway, this person, Greg Merced, a certified financial planner and CEO of BusyKid, who shares recommendations on how to snag Prime Day sales without blowing your budget. I'm going to summarize. And this is what I've been telling people for 20 years. I don't necessarily follow it myself because I'm bad at following my own advice. But don't finance everyday purchases. Why? Because the squeeze is not worth the juice. So this is low, 4.25%. If you're going to finance something, I would not finance a damn thing. And that's basically what they say.
Something that's a frivolous purchase.
Even if it's $2,000, unless you know that you're going to pay for it by the end of the month, do not finance it, because none of these are actually the loans that you're going to be getting. First off, you have to be spectacularly situated with your credit, 850 or higher, 800
there
minimum.
There might be fees or percentages on top, depending on whatever their terms are.
It's an unsecured loan, even if it is for a product, a device, unless it is real property like a car or a house, it's not secure. And so this is not what you're going to be getting. This might be a credit card or something like that. But it is not 3.25%. It's closer to 26%. So I'm not even sure what they're actually looking at here. These are their partners, but you're not getting that from a credit card. You might get that from something like a firm or something like that might have a low interest rate. But not all of these are actually going to be giving you that rate on a credit card. American Express. Again, if your credit rating is spectacular, then maybe you'll get it.
Right, but the point is just don't, right?
Just don't. Yep. So it says stay away from financing. That's what the deck statement is. And the author of this is Dashia Milden, and then the editor is Courtney Johnson. and that's who put the article together. But they coordinated this with Greg Merced, a certified financial planner. And yeah, I could have told you this, and this is what I tell people, all the time. Don't finance. Like if you're going to buy a computer and the computer costs $2,500, you're going to be paying 6% more APR, depending on what your credit rating is. So you could pay as high as 12% APR. So 2% of your $2,200 is going to be every month. That's just interest. Then you have to do the principal as well. It's a either 2 to 5 year loan typically for financing a piece of equipment like that, which means $115 plus a squeeze. So anyway, don't do it. And with that in mind, we're going to consult our CFP, and they're going to say, well, you've got 4 minutes to spare. And that's going to bring us to the front page. Ta-da! So just imagine you're walking up and then back down Main Street, ohmTown every day. That's non sequitur news. You look in the shops, you look around. Hey, I really like that. And we talk about what's in the shop, and then we leave to another shop. It's kind of like a bar crawl, except that it's news and information. And we're not going to end up face down in the gutter going, never again, never again.
Hopefully not, unless the news is really horrendous.
I don't know, man. You get drunk on information sometimes. All right, folks. Well, that's it. We have to do some noodling around. You're going to say bye? Oh, wait, hold on. Wait. I'm Mayor Watt, and along with the Sentient AI, we talk about the news every day. You want to say bye now?
Sure. Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News. We have some weekly shows coming up, though, so be sure to like and subscribe so you know when we're going live.
Stay tuned. Pick up that can, citizen.